Hey there, everybody. It's meteorologist Jamey Singleton. Boy, what a day. I've been trying to get these all kinds of models and different inputs in for you here. And it's been rough. I'm not going to lie. I had to do a lot of configuring, and it's worked, but it just took me like literally the entire day. And that's disappointing. Anyway, what you're looking at, you see the satellite picture here on this radar picture. Let me go to the main radar because we do have a tornado warning out around Lewisburg, and that's concerning because I didn't think Lewisburg would really be in all that much danger, but sure enough, they're there. So let me get you over here. And again, I apologize. I've had a very rough go of it. I'm not trying to play a victim here, be a martyr or whatever, but there's some crazy stuff happening. All right, yeah, put that up, and we'll bring up our radar. This is the high-res radar I like to use, and so what we've had this. We've had this low-pressure system coming in from the west. And normally they come in out of the south and from the west, but we've actually had that moving, out of the west, like we see probably only one or two times. I've been doing weather here nearly 30 years, and it's only moved out of the west like a low like that with this much instability, maybe one or two times. So this is one of the weird kind of locations here. What we're looking at is a tornado warning for Allegheny, Sweet Springs, and reading it here, Monroe County and Allegheny and Greenbrier County until 8 o'clock. The tornado was over Glace or near Ronvert, moving east at 30 miles per hour. If you are listening to me elsewhere on B99 or on Star News, there are severe thunderstorm warnings out everywhere, and each of these warnings we need to take seriously because we've got a lot of wind shear still in place, and they're showing signs of rotating. So you see there around Halifax, there's a little comma. You see there around Danville, there's a little bit of a notch here, and this probably will end up being some tornadic activity. So I need the folks at the radio station and at the Star News place and wherever you're at, please share this because this is a dangerous situation. We had multiple waves earlier today. You see all the different severe weather reports that we've had, but of course the big concern is this tornado warning here. So let me look at the, let me get a new storm relative velocity really fast. So we'll put a marker here. We do this manually and store motion from the marker, and then we remove the marker. So let's see what this thing has velocity wise, why they have put that warning out. And if we go backwards in time when they first issued it, you can see right there we definitely had some rotation right through here. And that's away from the radar. The radar is down in Floyd County. Now it looks like this has weakened somewhat because if I erase my arrows here, and again this is up in Allegheny and Paint Bank and that area, Greenbrier County, you can see it's kind of disappeared. I'm looking at the chat right now, and still they're continuing it, but they may update it here in just a second. Sometimes these things can be hard to spot this far away from the radar. The other concern is, and I'm concerned because I am right here, these are tremendous winds showing up on the radar. These are showing up at 60 to 70 mile per hour winds. This is a very dangerous storm. Forget the tornado thing. Did you know that straight line winds can produce, they can overturn cars, they can put trees down? I have not seen this much straight line wind, and I'm not exaggerating. Those bright colors they are popping out around Ferrum, you're about to get clobbered with at least maybe 70 to 80 mile per hour winds. Let's see what the Weather Service has. They've got 60 mile per hour winds, and let's see at the they need to put in my opinion, you need to put considerable wind damage with this too. That is an enormous bow echo that's got a ton of wind on the radar. That is very, very concerning. Shows up here on the radar as kind of a bow echo, and there can be little notches in here. But what I want to remind you of, notice how big the polygon is. It goes all the way out through Rocky Mount, through Gretna and Chatham. When you see a polygon that's really big like that, that's because it's moving so fast and there's so much wind with it that the Weather Service will go ahead and just blanket the entire area. And we've already had, we've already had thunderstorm winds blowing down a tree in northern Henry County. We've had a lot of lightning around Martinsville and Stanleytown. We've got a cell here. We've already had trees down on Highway 220. We've got, it looks like, rotation around Danville still, in areas to the north of Danville. And again, we've still got the front itself is providing more spin. Now the low is out here, and it's going to be moving east, and it's going to take till about midnight to get through here. 15 diameter inch trees down in Carroll County from the same bow echo. And we've also got, I've had a few reports of hail. The Weather Service reports 2 trees snapped near the intersection of Peppers Ferry Road and Route 613 out in Wythe County there, right here in that area. And that was, let's see, that was at 4:56. This stuff coming into Rocky Mount right now is the real deal. And we've got other cells that are also rotating. If I look at the radar here, I can show you that this storm in Danville, it's just to the northeast of Danville. But if you live just out of the city limits of Danville here, you've got a little bit of rotation there. So we need to watch that one because it's trying to rotate. And then I'm also looking at, it's getting farther away from the radar, but it looks like in Halifax and South Boston, there's a severe thunderstorm warning out for that area for 60 mile per hour winds, and the possibility of some damage there, and a tornado could, spin up very easily in that situation. Notice we're seeing a lot of cranberry colors that are disappearing here, and that usually is a sign of either hail or debris or something that's not. It's probably hail. Let's see if I go. Yeah, there's your hail. Large hail right now near Danville, and I can show you the satellite. So there's Danville proper. There's the river. As you move a little bit farther out, and the reason I don't do this, I could, but that's not the actual data. So I like looking at the pixelated data. Let me kind of put up some locations here. It's just north of Milton and just northeast of Danville. I need to go to my WSV3 and get this set up for what I need to cover. So stand by. The creator of WSV3 has invited me to be a beta tester, and he's going to take into account what I think he needs to work on. The tornado warning, by the way, has been lifted for the Allegheny Highlands. This whole area here that's kind of flashing is a severe thunderstorm watch that's in effect until 10 p.m. And again, that's for hail of 1.5 inches and winds of 70 miles per hour. I can tell you, this cell coming out of Rocky Mount right now, here's some times on your screen. This is going to do damage whether it's a tornado or not. This is going to knock out power. It could knock out my power. So I'm glad I kind of got on here when I did. I want to go to, I'm doing this live. I always like to explain what I'm doing here. I'm going to go to my live radar, and we're going to go to, we need to go to our current radar site labels. We need to go to Floyd County radar. That's the closest. You can see the temperature's way high. Look at these dew points. Up in the 60s, mid 60s. That's pretty high. That feeds these thunderstorms. I'm going to take the watch off so you just see the warnings. And what we're going to do is try to get this reflectivity going, level 2, live scan. So now we're getting information right as it comes in, and that's a good thing. It'll pick up any rotation as well. Right now it's got the line way out ahead here, so again, this is kind of Rocky Mount horse pasture, this whole area. What I want to do is show a few more towns. So what I'm going to do is go into my program here, and I'm going to go into my cities, and we're going to pop some more stuff up here, okay? So let's do some city labels. You need to stay away from windows. You need to be calm about it, but you need to know that it's going to do damage, and it's probably doing damage as we speak. And as I do this, it should be changing. I should be seeing more. It's a little bit backwards on the program. Let's see. There we go. So notice that we've got loud thunder outside my window here. Notice we've got a few areas of rotation that are showing up on the radar aloft, but just some really strong wind. This is a situation where you've got a line, but you've also got within that line some rotation. And I need to look at the velocity as well just to get an idea. I've got something I can look at just with storm relative velocity, if this will do right. Getting a new scan just now, but these are those high winds I was telling you about. And once the scan completes, I can show you just how strong the winds are going to be very soon in Rocky Mount. Mom, if you are need to get away from the window, get in that closet. It's not a tornado, but it's going to do damage like a tornado. This has the potential to blow out windows, knock down very large trees, almost like a miniature. In terms of impact, it would almost be like a miniature derecho in a very localized area, from Ferrum to a lot of Franklin County getting hit by this. And again, this is probably the third or fourth storm of the day. I think what's happening is it's going so fast that I can't get. Here we go. It keeps updating so fast. So let's take out the live stuff. This is what I want to show you. And again, Franklin County, southern Franklin County from Ferrum. I've got 80-mile-per-hour winds on the radar. And what happens a lot is these winds come down 76 miles per hour, getting closer to Rocky Mount. Again, we've got some rotation aloft in here, but these are very strong straight line winds. And this is in Virginia, folks on TikTok that are watching. This storm is, I'm going to stay with you on this because it's going to do some damage. It probably already is, and actually I can check that out. Just give me 1 second here. A lot of thunder outside. Alright, so let's go to this radar. You can see it's already starting to rain where I'm at as well. We'll put this in motion so you can get an idea. Look how fast it's moving. Power just blinked. So again, I don't know how long I'm going to be able to be on the air with you here, but folks all the way down from Patrick County, the Martins, all of Henry County, most of Pennsylvania County, all the way into Halifax County, and now into a new one just came out. You see it blinking there? A new one just came out down through Yadkinville and Stokes County and that area toward Mount Erie and Wilkesboro. So if you're watching me on Star News there, the southern end of this is starting to get some notches in it. I'm getting a lot of wind outside as I speak, and I believe I can show that to you. Let's see. Oh my goodness. Lord be with us. Okay. I'm going to do... can't think of my name of my weather station. Tempest. Sounds hellacious outside, I'm just going to say. We're going to go to weather. And the wind will be popping up there. It's not showing up live. It's weird. 8.4, 6.7. The rainfall extreme. That's strange that it's not gusting that much. I've got a second weather station that's up around 20 miles per hour. It's interesting. And it may just be that I don't have the worst of it over me yet. But some of you are definitely seeing that. Let me go back up here. Look at all the lightning. So we're going to base velocity. And I've got my home. I've got a cursor at my house, I think. So I'm up here. Yep, here it comes. Extreme bow echo. Still not showing up on the weather station, which is strange. I've got wind pelting it. I'm worried that another lightning strike there, it'll tell you. So I'm in this 7.7 miles per hour. There's a graph of it, starting to gust up there. 13 miles per hour, just now another lightning strike. I'm going to keep this off to the side here while we look at the other stuff too. Pull up my WSD3 again. We'll clear out some of the stuff. I don't know if you've ever seen me this quiet. I'm quiet because I'm quite frankly very worried about people in the path of this storm. It's a lot of wind. I'm lucky so far. It's showing 4 miles per hour. The thing is, a radar pixel isn't very exact. It actually covers like several acres, but still I'm really surprised. It looks like the Boeing part went just south of me. I wouldn't be surprised if just to the south things are different in a major way, but there's still probably 40 mile an hour winds in this thing. Let's see, take it off my drawing. There it is. Okay. And we'll turn back on this. So yeah, that is what happened. I'm up here. So what happened is a lot these really high colors now are going toward Bassett and Ferrum, and actually when you see a glow on this screen, let me go ahead and make this easier for you to see. Those are live lightning strikes, and I can actually hover over the lightning strike and tell you about the energy that it has. Most of them come from the bottom of the cloud, but some of the really loud ones are the ones that come from the top of the cloud. And a lot of the lightning occurs before and after the storms. You can see a lot of lightning here ahead of the activity, and then within this wind there's not a lot of lightning, and then on the back end there is. That tricks a lot of people. So southwest Franklin County now, as I zoom in, I might be able to get these roads labeled. I'm not sure. I downloaded them for you. So this would be 220. It's just east of 220 now. It looks like it's around Snow Creek. 77 mile per hour winds, 78 mile per hour winds. Now, does this match up with correlation? Do we see Bree, basically? Look at the bow. It's just a perfect bow echo. So we put that in motion again. You can see how it came out. And it was green because it was on the other side of the radar. But this is just surging down to the ground. And it hits the ground and accelerates. So you folks around Union Hall, for Union Hall to Pinhook, the Callens, Oak Level, just missed you. The worst part, just missed the radio station. Let me check on Star News, folks. Looks like it's going just north of Martinsville. So up there on the hill, Charles, you may be seeing some very, very high wind. Let me get the latest image up here. So what we're going to do is we're going to show a couple of panels and show this side by side. We're going to look at our debris signature. And so if I put a marker here, and we'll see where that marker shows up within here. So usually you do see at least a little bit of a drop. If it's a tornado, it's very pronounced, but this is not as pronounced, but there's some leaves and things and some hailstones probably in the air as well. The melting layer is around 10,000 feet. And the reason I say that, a good way to talk about how strong a storm is to look at the size of the raindrops in terms of, are they like needles or are they like flat? Now, heavy rain falls like pancakes. It's not a perfect circle. It actually falls like this. And the dual pole radar and that horizontal motion can show us that. So let me pull up here one panel. And again, the melting layer around 10,000 feet, I can see that I'm at about 18,000 feet. So let me get up here to 6. So we're still seeing rain close to the melting layer. What that tells us is right here there's a lot of upward motion that's feeding this storm, and that's why we're seeing the downward motion there as well. These are very dangerous storms because that rain isn't freezing. In other words, we've got so much energy going up that it reaches the freezing level and it keeps on going. Now here's a 3D slice. Alright, so just to give you an idea, we're going to look at that. We're going to look at the same thing I was talking about. Now right through here, and I know this is a little technical for you, but let me get rid of my mug here for a second. This is the freezing level. So these are all raindrops showing up in these higher colors. Now by contrast, these very low values are ice crystals up at the top of the cloud. But we can pick out updrafts because if we go in a little more, in a little more detail, like you can see right here, you've got the freezing level about here, but you've got some rain, some very high values of rainfall, flat pancake looking rain that's super cooled. It's not freezing because it doesn't have time to freeze, and it's just so strong. As I move this around, you can see the same thing going on here. This is, let me get my bearings here. So that's southern Franklin County now. So we're looking kind of west to east. So this goes into Henry County. So we're looking at the Martinsville area and Collinsville and the Bassett area, and that's just a very intense cell. That goes way up there above the freezing level. And these really high values show, you know, an incredible storm. Now, we can also look at the reflectivity, the normal radar, and get an idea of what these storms are looking like. So the one in Franklin County, let me redraw this. So I want to use as many tools as I can just to show you what we're looking at. You can see these very high values there where we're seeing enhancement. And there's also something called KDP, which looks at how much does the radar beam bend. And when it goes through heavy rain, it bends a lot. When it sees hail, if it's melted hail, it shows up kind of in between. But this is very heavy concentration of rain that's continuing. Very, very high values of rainfall amounts. Typically that can lead to flash flooding and gives you your, kind of separates, this value here separates the really heavy rain from just the ordinary rain. It also shows that you've got one or two things going on. If we look aloft, it's very similar to what I was just talking about. If you see that spike aloft, these high values, and we're at about 6,000 feet. Now we're going up to about, there's an update. Now we're at 11,000 feet, and we still have these very high values, very intense storm activity here. And if we look at the correlation coefficient, again, you can see the drop there. It's not like a perfect circle as we'd see in a tornado. And I don't want to say, hey, good news, we're not seeing a tornado with this. This is the rotation. There's just a few little embedded areas. Not to say that's not possible. But there's certainly, it looks like there's some hail near Union Hall. Hail shows up, by the way, well, it may be melted hail. Yeah, maybe a little bit of melting hail and rain. If it was really dry hail, this would show up as 0. Because again, this product shows if it's a raindrop that's flat or ice crystal that's up and down. Now, if it's a perfect circle, the amounts are going to be 0. So that's kind of a new thing that we look at. And you can see how this is just bowing out. We've got more activity around Roxborough. You folks in Danbury, Sandy Ridge, Stoneville, you were hit by a tornado before. Let's look at the base velocity. I see some rotation near Boonville and Yadkinville here, and this area south of Dobson. This is moving, let me think here, this is actually just moving east southeast. Here's storm relative velocity. This takes away the storm movement, and it puts just what the storm sees without the storm movement. Look at all those outgoing winds there, and the greens are going towards. So that's some pretty impressive rotation. It's the inbound is not as impressive as the outbound, but you may be seeing a tornado warning soon in North Carolina, south of Dobson and north of Yadkinville, giving you an early heads up. Let me look also at this line that's coming through, because what happens is you get these surges that come out, and if you picture like a backward C, you see this push here. Let me draw it. Like right here, we've got a, yeah, like people are going to see that. Right here, we've got this surge that comes out, and then you've got another kink. So you've got these straight line winds that are coming out right through Franklin and Henry County, right? So they're going away from the radar at about 70 to 80 miles per hour. But because of that, what ends up happening is you get what's called bookend vortices. So right here around Smithmount Lake, because you've got so much wind coming out this way, and you've got some green showing up here, you've got a little bit of a swirl that develops. You've got another, anywhere you see a kink, that would be a possible